So this will be the official start of the 45C ADA Aquarium series. So right now I'm kind of preparing the stand and getting it built. So this video will be all about that. I will take you guys along. I won't really show you step by step. Just kind of not the greatest editor or anything, so the video is not going to be very good if I try. So I'm just going to at least show you guys like throughout the video like the process I'm going through and kind of explain it best as I can. Just kind of show you guys the steps of what I'm doing here, because this stand is built a little bit differently than the 90P. The 90P was all 2x4s and plywood, which still turned out nice and a nice ADA stand, but it was more just I built that just so people can have other idea of how to build these stands. But this one's going to be purely out of 3/4 plywood, so it's going to be a little bit different and more of your more common way to do this, and it's going to look better at the end of the day too, because obviously you can use regular cabinet hinges at this point, because the last time I used piano hinges because I used 2x4s, so that's why that one was so much different. So I'll show you guys kind of what. So right now I got all the pieces cut out. So obviously this is a 45C, so it's a 17 and like 3/4 by 17 3/4, so 18 by 18 basically, but the actual dimensions are 17.6 17.6. But so I got some of the pieces, you know, these are all the sides right now, and then these are just the pieces I still need to cut down, like the door and then the lid and bottom piece. But then I got the other pieces that are actually gonna square all up, these little side pieces. Some of these are gonna go vertically, a lot of these, and then some of these are gonna be the strips for the top, so you guys kind of see it throughout the process. But I don't want to talk too long. I kind of want to show you guys step by step, but this is kind of just me cutting out right now. And if you have any questions on, you know, more in detail how to do some of this stuff, I can definitely tell you about down below for sure, or you can follow my Instagram at JJ Aquariums and message me on there too. That's totally fine. But yeah, so this is what I got out so far. So I got everything cut out, and now I'm going to actually in the process. So next process I'm probably going to show you next clip is I'm going to go ahead and do pocket holes. So I got a Craig jig that I'm going to start connecting these together with pocket holes, and then obviously I'm going to glue them. I'm going to glue them and pocket jig them. And yeah, I'll show you guys when I got that pretty much all done. Okay, so this is the only one I'm going to show you because they're all going to be the exactly same, but this is basically what I'm doing for all the sides. And so basically all the sides, so basically like that's the side right there, so that will basically flush up to the side of that, and then obviously I'll Craig jig that into there, screw it in there. Then obviously I'll put some glue on the side. So obviously the glue is what's actually holding this together. The Craigs are basically just there to, you know, support and hold it together until the glue dries. But the glue I'm actually using is Thai bod, probably honestly the best you can get really, but I use the version 3 because it's also waterproof too, and it is the strongest version they do make. So I would definitely do that if you're building one. Just might as well, it doesn't cost much money to get the better versions of them, so might as well get a stronger glue, because that's basically what's going to hold this thing together. But so basically I Craig G's, I just nicely, you know, evenly, you know, spaced them out and did the same thing. So I just did 5. You can see how nice it looks. I just went 3.5 each side, and then just kind of center it up on the rest. But then so this is that will be the actual bottom of the stand, and this is the top. So I made sure I made 2 more Craig jigs right here, and that's what will, when I go to set the top on here, that's what I'll screw into to secure the top. And the top I could just straight screw it down because you're not going to see it anyways, but it's just nicer. Might as well just, we have the Craig, so might as well just make 2 more, and so you can hide the screws for the top too. Less work as possible when it comes time to prep and painting, you know, less holes to fill. So yeah, that's how all of them will be. I'll make one exactly the same on that one, and then next step I'll show you guys together. I'll put the sides on, screw the sides on, and then next step we'll start kind of bracing it a little, so I'll show you that next. Okay, so I got some of the main parts assembled now, so you can see how I Craig jig all that like we showed, and then so I basically just screwed it all in. I clamped it all up, make sure it's all square and nice looking, and then I went ahead and put these 2 pieces in. So really, so where you see the 2 that are screwing up, obviously that will screw the actual top that lays on top of there. But then like this bottom piece, there'll be another one that goes right there that I'll slip in, and then the actual bottom top will actually go right on there, which I'll show you in the next scene. But that's basically what I'll work on now. And then this part is just more just keeping it square, but then there'll be another front piece that goes right in front of this, which will be one of those. I have to cut out a 17.6 across here, the same length as this whole thing, so that'll be that nice board that goes across there, and then the door obviously right in front of that. So that's really the only final stuff, and then obviously the top itself. So once I put the top on, then it's gonna be a perfect 36 inches for the. That's something you have to factor in, is if how you're gonna do the top. If you're just gonna lay it right on top, obviously your sides need to be at least 3/4 shorter. So once you put the top on, then it's a perfect 36. But with my case, I didn't do that last time. So with my 90p, it's actually like 36 3/4, so I actually made it the same just so both the tanks are the same height. So this one will actually be 36 3/4, but that's something just to remind you guys if you're watching this, just something to watch out for. Just make sure, even when you're doing some of these measurements, just make sure you account for the 3/4 of plywood on each side, just because you can get real messed up real quick. That's how my first one, I wasn't paying attention, and ended up being a little bit wider too, which didn't really affect anything, but just to make it look all nice where the tank will sit nice and flush around this whole thing, just makes everything just a little bit neater. But so yeah, I'll get that going and I'll show you guys the next step. So I jumped ahead a little bit, but I did get the bottom brace on, like I said, the bottom piece, and then I also went on and put the top on. So really self-explanatory, just cut the size and slip it in there. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. It's all assembled. I'm actually sanding right now, so get it all sanded, then I'll actually take some bondo and bond it all, because there's some spots that aren't the best looking, so we can fix them up with bondo and then sand that off pretty well. But over here, like, yeah, it all looks pretty good though, for the most part. But yeah, I'll do the door separate. I'll probably paint it, but then I'll go ahead and drill out the hinge with a jig from Craig 2 that just drills out your hinges for you, which makes it nice. And then I'll go ahead and paint it, but then I probably won't end up installing the door until it's all painted and done. But yeah, that's about what I got updated now, and I'll come back to you when it's all sanded and got bondo on it, and probably a first coat of primer. So I just got done bondoing all of it. So if you don't know what bondo is, it basically is just like a wood filler, but it's not just for wood. You can use it for metal, wood, literally anything. It's basically just a paste that you can shape when you go to sand it. So you just layer it on there, it hardens, and then you can take your sander and shape it into whatever you want. So if you have say if your cuts are a little off and you have a little bit of a gap somewhere, or something just wasn't square cutted enough, you could just take that putty and go right over it. And then obviously you want to kind of mountain stack it a little bit, just so there's a little more than you need on there. But then you just go with the sander and then sand it smooth to, you know, how you want it. So obviously I'm not the best with spreading it, but you can see I just kind of got crazy and just spread it, put quite a bit on there, just so, and then when I go to sand it, basically this will all just look like one piece when it's done. And that's what I did on my last one, and it worked really well. And except I don't have any nail holes or nothing on this one, it makes it nice because I don't have to deal with any of that other than that. But I got some plugs I can put in there next and chisel those off, and those will disappear. But yeah, just trying to, so I just went over all the, you know, especially the edges of the plywood, where even though I'm going to paint it, you can still probably potentially see those ingrains potentially, and sometimes they'll use edge banding for that. And if you don't know how to really do that, it can be kind of tough. It isn't, none of this is really that hard, but also I've never really done that much, so it's easy just for me to just slap some bondo on there and be done with it. But yeah, so like this joint, my measurements somehow got off on this piece, so I actually have like, you know, like maybe like an eighth of a gap between this board and that. So that's why I just slapped a lot of bondo, and basically that'll just almost look like wood by the time it's done. So it's really nice. So yeah, so I'll show you guys when it's all sanded. But yeah, you guys will see like how like it literally will look like all one piece when it's all done, so it looks super professional when you're done, and it makes it look like you're better than you are. But this one actually turned out really well. There's actually nothing really that went wrong on this. Everything was real flush, and everything come out real nice. But it was just that one side that got kind of off. And then yeah, the only reason I put, like I was saying, bondo on everything else was just to hide the edges. So on these edges I'm not too worried about, because really you're not going to really see them unless you open it up. But the paint will just cover that up, and that won't be really much of a problem. But yeah, I'll see you guys on my next. So it's later on, and I finally got it all primed up. So you can see, like, now that the paint's on there, the bondo's kind of disappears, and everything just looks like one piece now. So, you know, like, just quick run through. Obviously just one coat at the moment, so it's not gonna look, you know, totally done yet. But yeah, so obviously what's gonna be different about this one is I'm actually painting the inside the same color too, so it looks nice this time. So yeah, obviously I just slapped on, this is the first coat of primer that I'm just gonna put on for tonight, and then continue in the morning doing another coat of primer, probably 2 or 3, and then actual paint. But so yeah, I'm just kind of slapping on there. It doesn't have to be real pretty, just get some primer on there. But yeah, hopefully I'll brush some paint in there, and hopefully that kind of, there's just a couple gaps on the bottom, but that's, that's expected, honestly. Can't get it exactly perfect, but yeah, that paint should cover those seams, and then everything else should look pretty good. But yeah, I'll see you guys when I get the first coat of. So we now have color on it, so you can see it's looking actually pretty good right now. So this is actually my last coat of color. I did a couple coats, so just so it looked better for you guys. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. Obviously it's still wet, so some of it you can see streaks a little bit, but so yeah, it's looking pretty good, Obviously get as close to 88 as I can, but only so much I can do. It's getting it pretty close though. So yeah, I just got the door to do. I gotta paint the door just because I have to flip it every time, so that'll be like very last, and I'll put that on once like it's totally dry and like in place. I'll put that door in. But yeah, it's looking pretty good, and I'll update you guys when it's done. So I'll have the door on. Next time you should see me, I'll have the door on, and hopefully we'll start putting the tank on top. So skipping all the way to the end now. So last time you guys saw it, you should have seen just the first coat or second coat of color, and that's kind of where I left you guys off, and I would show you guys when the door was on. I think that's what I mentioned. And so it's been since yesterday since I filmed that part. But this morning I did get the door on, and I did all the finishing touches. There is one more thing I need to do, and I might add it into this video. I don't know. It comes tomorrow, but really it's not. It's just a light for the cabinet, but you guys get that. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Just a cabinet light that would shine the inside, but I might show it. Who knows? But basically, so obviously, before we even get to that, so you can see I got the tank on. It's all leveled up now, and it's where it's gonna be. So yeah, this is the 88 45C, which is actually discontinued now. It's been discontinued for a while now, and I was able to get a hold of it, the very last one, probably in the United States, to be honest. So I got pretty lucky because it was the only tank that could really fit in this corner, and I really wanted a tank in this corner. And I wanted it to be 88, so I just got very lucky. But so good thing we got all that going. But yeah, so you can see I got the door on. So when I showed you guys, so the hinges were pretty easy. Obviously I already had those drilled out, but I just had to measure the same distance that I had over here, and worked out pretty good. I had to adjust it a little bit, but overall it went pretty smooth. So yeah, those look pretty nice. And then I don't know if I explained I was gonna do this, but the cutoff that I had for the pad, the garden mat for the 88 tank, the extra that I had, I actually cut out a square to fit in here and like spray glued it down. So that just gives it a nice surface for everything to sit on. It's gonna reduce noise, and also it just looks very nice. Oh, it's a little dirty right now, but you can see it just makes everything look kind of nicer, I think. So yeah, so we got all that on. Then I actually got the hinges on. You can see I kind of messed up. I actually had a different type of hinge system. I actually had the same system I had on my 90p, so the little click ones, magnetic clips, and those work nice, and that's what I used on this at first. But then I realized on like a one door setup like this, it doesn't work that great, only because your door will stick out. Like it basically will look like this, to where it's flushed on there, but then it'll stick out real far out here, which I did not like. So obviously on this setup, it doesn't matter because both of the end doors are going into the cabinet, so it doesn't matter how far in, it just doesn't matter. So, but on this, except the door, except it's a one door and it's the very end of the cabinet, it just looks really weird when you have a big gap like this on the outside. So I just didn't like that at all. So I actually had to take that off, which so I gotta go back and fill those holes in. But Basically, I just replaced it with one of these rollers. So it's not magnetic or anything, but basically all it is just a little latch. And you can see it'll slide right into that slider when you push it, and it basically just locks it in and holds it. So still pretty nice, but obviously the push would have been nicer, but still works just fine. And then, so obviously, yeah, other than that, that's the only thing that I did actually get the power strip on. I did drill a hole right there. If I want to, I might go ahead and cap that, but you're not really gonna see it. So honestly, I might not even. But just for protection, I might, just because it is kind of nice to have some plastic around those cut holes, just so nothing gets kind of cut on that wood, even though they shouldn't. But just for protection, I might as well. But yeah, I got the power strip in. And yeah, everything's going pretty nice. Obviously, the light I'll probably like mount like to the side of here or something, or if it's small enough, I might go to the back side of this, which would be ideal, just because it'll be more hidden. But yeah, everything turned out pretty nice. I'm pretty happy with it. So yeah, it clicks in. The gap looks real nice at the top, all even. So yeah, I really like it. It's definitely an improvement from that build for sure. But I mean, I would say, I mean, it'll never be no ADA stand, but in my opinion, pretty close, and most people probably won't even tell the difference, to be honest. It looks pretty similar and it looks pretty sweet, so, you know, same color and everything, so yeah, it looks pretty nice. So yeah, if you guys have any more questions on this, definitely let me know down below. I can definitely answer, or if you actually want the exact plans for this tank, I can definitely let you do that. Or if you need a material list for your guys' builds, if you guys don't know what to get or how much you need, I can definitely let you know, because I've done, you know, many different sizes at this point to know, you know, roughly what you need. But yeah, other than that, comment, subscribe, and definitely stay tuned, because we'll definitely start the series. This will be the first video of the new series for this tank, which will be the 45C. But other than that, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.